We are going to start in Yes Hashem the Hilchos Shabbos, the Heilige Halacha of the Malachos. We know the Alter Rebbe writes in Kidras Achren, the theme of Sefer HaTanya. The Alter Rebbe writes, one of the things, the Alter Rebbe says that you have to be Mechiach, even Me'epomim. And one of the things which the Alter Rebbe is Ma'orer is like this. Since in our times we have no koyach to fast, because if you read the Mishnah's Hasidim, over there's a lot of halachas, a lot of tanaisim for all kinds of sins. The Alter Rebbe brings it down for kas, and for all things. And since today's day, we have no koyach to fast. What is the solution? A person which keeps Shabbos according to halacha, has to be according to halacha. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe says, therefore, you have to be buke in Hilchos Shabbos, because if not, you can't push it, tikimitzi virus. Very bakal, the Alter Rebbe writes in other place, bakal liyuchel luvoy, ledai isire daraisa. So, people learn Yeridaya and learn a lot of other halachas, smicha. But Hilchos Shabbos is on a weekly basis, and is mamash isire daraisa, mamash we can overzam. Especially, and that's why I decided to start with Hilchos Bורer, especially Hilchos Bורer. Because as we know, the gewaltige Zach was Chazal gave us, a gewaltige matana, which some people, are crying on it, but basically they don't even realize the gewaltige Zach was Chazal gave us by adding on all kind of precautions, all kind of barriers, like Hilchos Yichet. If not Hilchos Yichet, man nicht geworden gewaltige virus. Every Isser, Chazal made barriers because you should have a barrier between you and the Isser D'Raisa. So they gave us Isser D'Rabunan. That's why we have all the Isser D'Rabunan, because we shouldn't come to Ein Isser D'Raisa. So some people say, why did Chazal have to add on? But if you think a little bit, it's a gewaltige Sache, because if a person can go to the cliff, it's very easy to fall down the cliff. So therefore you have to have some kind of barrier of the precaution which gives you stop. And that's the Chazal was the Chazal, the gewaltige Male. Where do we see the gewaltige Male? Where do we see this? There is one is halacha, which is Hilchos Bורer, because if you do it one way, it's mutzel ketchila, and if you do it a drop difference, it's a Isser D'Raisa. You don't have this precaution in the between. And as Isser Bורer, we have these things we're going to see, that if you do it one way, the same thing that you do. If you do it now, it's mutalek tchila. If you do it an hour from now, it's Isser D'Raisa. So that we see that we could be over on Isser Bורer, which a lot of people are over Isser Bורer because they don't realize all the halachas. And you talk about the D'Raisas. So therefore, we appreciate what Chazal gave us and did us by giving us all these kinds of precautions. So therefore I want to start the Hilchos Bורer, because again, as we said, this is the halacha, which is the easiest to be over of Isser D'Raisa. Bishul could also be, but Bורer even more. Now Bורer is one of the Lamates Isser Malucha. What is the concept? Who's the gather of Isser Bורer? You cannot divide, to take apart, oichel from psoilus. When you have psoilus, you have garbage, you have klippas, you have shells, and you have a food, it's mixed together, and we're going to see it's not necessarily when it's klippas, shells, it could be also food and food. But akaponam, to divide a thing which is oichel, food, and another thing which is psoilus, this is considered Bורer. That's in a Bורer. So basically, anytime when you have a thing which is mixed together, a oichel with a psoilus, again, a food which you like, you want to eat, which something which you don't like. Because again, we're going to come a little bit later, you're going to see that the thing which I don't want now, I don't want it, is also a psoilus, it's going to bורר. So that is the concept of the bורר. Dividing, to taking apart, oichel mit psoilus. Now, in order we should be permitted, yes, to make bורר, there's 3 tenon, 3 conditions in order to be able to make bורר. One is, you have to take out the good ones from the bad ones. That means you have to take out the food from the bad ones. For instance, if a person eats fish, he has to take out the fish and not take out the bone. If he takes out the bone, not the fish, a person has a bowl which has cracked up nuts, and it has the shell inside, it has the nuts inside, it has peanuts inside, and if he takes out the shell from the plate, if he takes out the nuts, if you want it right away, we're going to see a minute. So that's why the Alter Rebbe writes in the Siddur that we should not, as Lubavitcher Chassidim, we all know it, that we should not eat nuts on Shabbos. What is the reason? He gives a couple of reasons. One reason is because of muktzah, because the shells are muktzah and people do not know they can take the shells and play with it, and it's muktzah. And the main thing is a bórer. It could come of a bórer. If you take out one piece of a shell from a mixture, hast du overgehen Issa deraisa. So again, what is the t'nai? The t'nai has to be oichel metach psoilus. You take out the oichel, you take out the food, you don't take out the psoilus, you take out the oichel. That's number one.
Peeling an orange.
We're gonna get it. It's extra, we'll get it. Number 2 is going to be the t'nai has to be even oichel metach psoilus, even taking out the food, has to be beyad and not through a keli. You cannot do it through a kli. That means if you want to take out, if you have a sifter, and by sifting, the good stays on top and the psoilus goes down, although you're taking out psoilus, which is permitted, but since you're doing it with a kli, it's aser. Now it depends with what kind of kli. If it's a regular sifter, it's aser midaraisa. If it is not like a sifter, other things like a big plate, and you take it out, which is called nap of a kavra, kin of a tamche, is Eised Rabun. But that's Osed Rabun. So again, even if you take out oichem betach psoilus, if you do it with kli, it's aser. Third condition has to be, you have to take it out, oichem betach psoilus, only for right away before the food, for eating. If you do it now, if you take out a nut, which is 100% permitted, if I eat, I take out the nut from the shells, I eat it now, I took it out to eat it now, it's mittelik tchila. If I'm taking it out because I want to eat it, Shabbos afternoon is going to be a Oinig Shabbos, and I want to give it for the Oinig Shabbos, for the people to eat, according to how we pass. Rav Rishonim halt like this. Some boys want to say if it's boy b'yom, not. But we don't pass like that. We pass that if even it's boy b'yom, if it's not to eat now, if it's to eating later, that's the overgain of a Issa. So again, in order to be mitzvah to be mevarer, has to be 3 conditions. Oichem etach psoilus, you take out the food, not the garbage. Has to be bayad, with the hands, no keli. Third, has to be mayad, has to be to doing it right before the meal. The only exception to this rule that you have to take out the food from the shell is peeling off, like Shmuel said before, peeling off fruits and vegetables. I want to eat an orange. You cannot eat the orange only because there's a shell. So automatically you have to take off the shell. And in order to get to the orange, this is not a problem because this is the way how you cannot eat a difference. You can't. So there's the only one. What?
Unless you slice
it. That's right. Yeah, okay, but still then you have to take it out.
You don't have a chiyuv to slice it.
You don't have oshka chiyuv. No. Oshka chiyuv. You can take a knife and peel it off. Yeah. What? but nuts is also the same thing. If you want to break up the nuts in order to take out the nis, it's auch mitter. The only thing is once it's open, it's broken up, and now you take out the a piece of shell from food is the issue of the rice. To breaking up is no problem. What? No. The answer is like this, because sofkasov peiris v'yerukas is the shell nish mikzeh, because it's rule achila. So the als rule achila. So is hot guy. Wer? A fil of a mention. A fil of a mention is rule achila. Yeah, okay. Oh, so noch was heißt als besoiles? Das heißt als besoiles. The kids that were with the Alter Rebbe says, the kids that were with the Machbar Gabanis in Pshat, he says two things. First of all, it's a mixer, which versus the peeling of any fruit or vegetables is not mixer, because again it's the rule other famir or for a chaya, because any food which is rule la beheima is ochad macht nicht mixer. So you don't have the problem of mixer. In Mamaila, but you still have the problem basically once it is divided, the shell, the orange with the peels, and you take out the peels from the orange, it's not a problem. But that's the only exception that you can take out the oichel, because that's the way how that's called kilif, and that's not boirer, so to speak, and therefore is you could do it. Now, you have to see another thing. In boirer we have a chiddush of din, which you don't see it by all other Malech Shabbos, that you have a chilik if you do it right away or if you do it la'achar zman. As I mentioned before, one of the things which we say by boirer is that if you do the same thing, if I'm not doing it for eating now, I'm eating 3 hours from now, I'm going to eat the rice. Which in other maluchas is also other semitas. It's not achili, it's not alter, and not alter. As if the Gemara fragt, "V'chi mitel efet leboy b'yom?" So there's no such thing as. But for ein Zat hast a heter as la alter megman. Was ba bishul there's no such thing. Bishul is also. So now we say no. Me meg ya. What is the reason? Who's stuck in the kiddas at who's stuck a boy is anders? Is the allusion fin Alter Rebbe sagt das in Avronizer is masma me klurer that when you eat oich matach pasoiles and you eat it la'alter, that's not breire. That's derech achila. That's the way how you eat. The way how to eat food with the Arabit food. As I take out the food, I'm eating it right away. So that's called derech achila. And since anything which is derech achila is nicht derech breire, therefore is mitter. Wegen dem haben wir uns a hette baboire in a way, as ich megestin, was la alter is mitter, and la achazman is eise der reise, because that's derech achile, and that's not derech breire. Wus meint es la alter? La alter means right away. You have to add it right away. Which was the illusion, was the Alter Rebbe brings, which is touched in the Rishonim, Sumach Lesida. Samachlokes Rishonim, let me make it clear. Samachlokes Rishonim, the Rambam paskin that boy bayom heist ochad. The Rambam says so. Whenever you finish with one suda, for instance, you finish the morning suda at 12 o'clock. Yeah, it's get down vasiken 12 o'clock after the suda. You're going to eat shalashidas 7 o'clock afternoon. Again, wir reden nicht über Babische Chassidim. Babische Chassidim sind nicht fertig mit der Sida 12 o'clock, and they're only inshallah 7 o'clock, but I'm talking about Moshel. According to the Rambam, you finish the Sida 12 o'clock, and the next Sida is going to be 7 o'clock. You could prepare the Sida for the next Sida, because you don't have another Sida in the middle. After the last Sida, in order to prepare it for the next Sida, that's called the altar. But I could put them the Rishonim, other Rishonim do not go according to the Rambam, and we pasken la lucha, not with the Rambam. So we pasken la alter means sumach la sida. Has to be right before the sida. So a person wants to make, for instance, an egg salad, and wants to shell the eggs from the shells from the eggs, which you could do again. It's like we said before. You can take it off because that's Indian in order to get to the food. You cannot do it before you go to davening. So a lady wants to go daven. When she comes home, she should be prepared. She cannot do it in the morning before she goes to davening because that's already 2 hours. That's not sumach l'sida. So again, has to be sumach l'sida means right before the suda.
Something that you don't want, but it's beside the device.
Something
that you don't want. Let's say this to you.
It's besoiled for you is yeah.
So the eggshell and orange should be device.
No, but what is der chachila?
It should be like that.
It's also again. Anything which you have, in order to get to the inside, you have to take out the outside, is a shukam problem. So the Alter Rebbe doesn't say you cannot eat nuts because you're breaking up the nuts. And b'mayli machst the boyer oich mitach psoilis. That's not the nikida, what Alter Rebbe says. Because that's mitter, the same as it's mitter to do it by eggshell. You could do it by a fruit. You could do it this also. The nikida advurim is once you open it, and you have nuts mixed together with the shells, and you take out the shell, hast du going to the rice.
You don't have that problem by oranges. You're not
Which you have the same thing you can have also by eggshells, but the eggshells is enachanam do a sak with halt as eggshells als mixes them. You should take it off right away by the garbage, straight into the garbage. Which again, the Alter Rebbe is not a chashash. The eitzim breaking up a shell in eating nuts is nicht kan iser. The Alter Rebbe says it clear.
The part they said or that's only beside the muktzah, not beside the bread.
And beside the muktzah, yeah. So again, you have to make the boirer has to be sumach la'achila. What does it mean sumach la'achila? What?
Peeling an egg is not good, so why can't you do it in the morning?
Because sof kol sof it is. Sie is a boirer, hat nicht der heiliges boirer, hat nicht the problem für boirer, weil du ist der achila. The way is you have, in order to get inside, you have to do it. But it's only on this nekida of oichel mitach besoiles and pseuchel der oichel, eggshell or nuts or fruits and vegetables are different. All other tenuam will be the same thing. That means the other two tenuam, the same which he has, but all other hilchas boirer, you have it also here. The only thing which we are lenient, not really lenient, we are allowed when it comes to eggshells, nuts, fruits, all these things, because in order, that's the way how you eat it. There's no other way how to eat it. That's the way how you eat eggs. You break up the shell and you eat the inside. You break up the nut, you eat the inside. The same. That's the way how there's derech achila. But when it comes to la'alter or the other tenuam, it's like a problem. You cannot do it. So therefore, if you
peeler.
What?
Peeler.
Oh, we're gonna get to it in a minute. We'll get to it in a minute. Yeah, we'll get to it. So again, So again, what is the nikid sadvurim? It has to be the sumach l'sida. What is considered sumach l'sida? Zug nach roinim, it means the time we were able, you should prepare it, that it should be ready for the sida. There are some rishonim which want to say has to be ready when you wash. That's b'toch hasida. Even though if you're not going to eat it now, you're going to eat it in the second or the third dish. But once you wash, that's already sumach. That's okay. In spaskmele killer. That you can do it even before you wash. You can do it before the Suda. And in order, it should be done when the Suda, right before the Suda. That means if you have a thing which you have to prepare, and it takes 50 minutes to prepare, then you could start at least 50 minutes before the Suda. If you have a thing which you have to prepare, it takes to prepare 2 hours. Then you could start 2 hours too. Because you have a right to prepare and finish it, it should be ready for the Suda. So whatever it takes, because there are some salads, for instance, there are salads which you have to take, and you want to put in some oil, and it has to marinate, so to speak. It has to come tasty, whatever. Now, if you do such a thing, and you need it in order, and it finishes, it takes 2 hours in order to be edible. You mean geschmack zu essen? So that's already considered sumach l'sida. But you cannot do it way before, and you have time afterwards to sit around before the Sida, and this is the inifil alter. Again, what does it mean? Right before the Sida, you should be able to do it. So there, one of the things which is very important to do is people who make egg salad, and they want to do it in the morning before they go to shul, they cannot do it before they go to shul. They cannot do it. What?
They want to eat a little bit.
Nein, das ist nicht kein Heter. Because die kannst nicht machen eine ganze Sache, because you want to eat a little bit. Well, you make everything for the afternoon.
You make for the breakfast in the morning, but you want to make the meals to do one thing.
No, nine. Ich hab mir bald sicher mit zu dem. As b'shas when I want to make, it should be presentable. That means I can make as much as I need for the Suda. What does it mean, as much as I need for the Suda? As much as I need to eat, or as much, it should be also, you have guests, yeah? So if you know how much usually they can eat, but if you get, get a little bit, or I guess weinig, it's kicked those karg, automatically people will be ashamed to eat. So you could make as much as a person will do for a Suda. It should be presentable. It should be, people should be able to, that's also for the Sida. As they see the Chotchig, it might be rest, since Blabem Iber, it will be leftovers. But by Kavanah, not it should be leftovers. Oib Kavanusi is leftovers, that's not a heta. Not only this, I saw one of the Achronim, Treis Achronim, write, he brings down, there's a story which they bring, B'Shem, one of the Rebbes, that the Rebbes used to make the Ayamatzibala, but the Chassidim is a great Zag, the B'Shem made this the minigas you eat onions with eggs. And she used to make it in the morning, and she used to taste a little bit, and then she left it. And then the Rebbe got to notice, he says, she can have it. She doesn't have to say to make such a thing. You make it now because you ate a little bit. Well, you make it in Tchillah to make it self a laches man. Als je gehst ein bisschen das Aroma.
Maybe some Chassidim or some Bobov Chassidim.
They do it in the middle of the Sida. They do it in the middle of the Sida. In Bobov, in Tzams, the Rebbe himself does it in the middle of the Suda, not before the Suda, in the middle of the Suda, and he himself does it. Yeah. Because it says that they asked the Tzanzaruf, why? So 3 people asked Tzanzaruf the reason. Why are you doing it yourself? You don't have Gabom, you don't have Mishamsham. So for one came a yeshivish guy, a litvish guy, and asked him, the Tzanzaruf says, you have to understand one thing, that there's a lot of halachas involved in making egg salad. Bורer, in toichen, in losh. So the people are not Tamid Chachomim. So I want to do it myself. I know how to learn. So I want to do it myself. That was his answer to the Litvisher. Then came Ashkenazish Yeker, and he asked the Rebbe, why are you doing it yourself? You have no enough gabon. He says, you have to understand, I'm a particular guy. I'm clean. I'm those. I don't know, people in how clean they are, what they're going to leave some kind of shell. I want to do it. I know what I'm doing. It's clean. I'm Finnick. So that he says for the Yeker. We see, to the Yeker, you have to speak this answer. Then a Chosset came to him and says, Rebbe, why you have to do it yourself? Why don't you give for the gabon? So you have to understand. Tzibel is Gevira. In Eiyer is Chesed. You have to be Magbers on the Chesed of Gevira. They don't know. He does not have Rebbe Kastin. So he gave an answer for every, according to what his Tchinas and Nefesh. But Akaponim, the real reason, we don't know. And that was the meaning, Adiyam Mazeh, that the Tzanzaruf, in Bobov, in Klozmor, all the Tzanzar Geza, they do it themselves. But Akaponim could be, as Chayish Gewetzi, der Rishonim, which say you have to be Takimil of the Sida. Aber ins Paskin nicht so, Lamas the Alter Rebbe Paskin Klur, as La Alter means even before the Suda, and therefore we could do it also before the Suda. The what?
By Yom Tov, you are allowed to eat. Somebody eats one challah, and they can only eat 10 challahs.
No, he has other things. You want to say that Bórer is mitter. That's something else. The Mendel says something else. In Yom Tov, Hilch Yom Tov, the Halacha, that if I want to cook a pot, and when I'm putting in 5 chickens, is the soup much geschmacker? Although I only need 1 piece of chicken because only one person is over. But I want to have a good taste. I can put it in even more. And same is also with chalas. Today's day there's no such thing. But once upon a time the ovens with the chalas used to be, if it's a fuller oven, used to bake better. So Begman, because that's Heilig from Euch Nefesh. That's a different halacha. Yeah, you're also right that Yom Tov there's different halachas Bórer, because Bórer is one of the halachas which is mitter by Yom Tov, and therefore in Yom Tov, yeah, but it's achona. Yeah, al tzachona. Yeah. Now he's right, but also that Yom Tov you have to do whatever is easier. Now, if to take out the psoilas is easier because there's much less psoilas, then you do it. But that's a different thing in Hilchos Yom Tov. Now we're talking about Shabbos. What? Bórer is mitter in Yom Tov. Yeah.
But if it's something that's able to be be done before Yom Tov.
That's not als Beurer. That's als andere Sache.
I'm saying
As-
things could be done.
There are things which you cannot do in Yom Tov because you can do it before Yom Tov. But mitzad the Iser Beurer in Ishdu, mitzad Beurer in Ishdu, if I wanna take out, I have nuts and I want to take out the shells instead of because there's a lot of nuts and there's a tiny drop of shells, or I have eggs and there's a piece of shell. It's not a problem. You have to take out the shell. That's the cloud. So again, what does it mean? What does it mean? La'alter, as much as it takes to prepare the things before that, it should be ready before Yom Tov, before the Suda. So now, if it takes a long time to prepare it, you have longer time to start. But you cannot start and then finish it. We have time between you finish it till the Suda. There is a problem, and that's not considered La'alter. And then, Gait Yisran in Iser Deraisa.
What's together from time? 10 minutes. So time.
The what?
Somebody prepares at 10 minutes only.
Okay, so wird fertig. Okay, 10 minutes nicht. Aber es ist, if you prepare the hour earlier, yeah, it's a problem. And noch mehr, the Chroim sagen that if you need, when you say you have to finish to prepare, don't see that doesn't mean to finish this thing. That means if I make egg salad, yeah. So then, after I make egg salad, I have to clean the counter, yeah, and I have to. Some kinds of I have to wash myself, and if I got dirty, I have to change to a Shabbos robe. Not take all these things is considered a heilig fin. What you need to have la'alter, that's a heilig fin. That means it goes in this time. That means doesn't mean that you have to the last kvetch which you give the egg has to be right before the suda. It means that you're preparing it in order that when you come, you finish to preparing it. Whatever is involved and takes into the shala is you finish. That will be fine. Now, what is a person does not know when his husband comes home? For instance, he knows in Beis Moshe, yeah, let's say for instance, 1:30, quarter to 2, usually the Verbringen finishes, 2 o'clock, okay. But now, so she makes it should be prepared for 2 o'clock. Her husband comes home, it should be prepared. But now, you're going to Geschmack Verbringen, and it took her until 3 o'clock. Because in such a case, when she makes the calculations, what is the time that basically she has to prepare, and that's usually the time when a person comes, that's enough. But darf nicht stehen with a stopwatch, sending someone in shul, where are Tati holding, when is he coming? As long as he did it when the time which usually comes home, now he had a good shmiz, or that's rakocht, nagita mama, nagita adus, and it came late, it's nicht kein problem. Another thing we say, a person is permitted to make for the Suda Shabbos, which entails breire, preparing, a lot of dishes. Now, not necessarily all of the dishes will be used. She's making egg salad, she's making pickle salad, so she has to cut the pickles. She's making all kind of dips and salads, whatever she does in Shabbos. So she prepares everything. Now, could be that basically, and you finish the Suda, one thing which she made, they didn't use. And it's a problem. Because again, the Nekidas Advurim is, you have to do it for this Sida. It has to be Sumach, La Sida, La Alta. What happens afterwards, that people didn't eat, or that's why I'm saying, when you do it like Tchila, eating a drop, in order to be, that's awesome. But if you're preparing it for the Suda, that's the preparation. And it's leftovers, it's a problem. And as we start talking in the Yom Tov, the Yom Tov do Achona. It's a problem of Achona. Yeah, you cannot prepare for the day 1 for day 2. It's awesome. So if a person prepares stuff for the first day's meal and left over, he can use it the second day. So because I prepared it for day 1. I cannot prepare more in order to be also enough for the next day. You cannot do it. But I can prepare as much as I want for this Suda, whatever it stays over, it's over. I want to just, why I'm stressing it, because I want to make sure that although there's a Iser of La'alter, as we mentioned before, Iser Raisa, but again, there's also lenience, don't be OCD in these Sachen. Wait a minute, I made a little bit more? 9. You prepare as much as you do for a Suda, and the time which takes to the Suda. Once you did it for this Suda, right before the Suda, as much as it takes to prepare, that's fine, and it's a problem. And it's a mutter.
Also, sometimes you make a lot of things, and one thing is start before. In America, it's not even done right before the season.
Nachman?
If you immigrant zu sagen, in America, you have a gesamte
Emmas, steht in the Paske Mamash of Deine Kide, that you should prepare the things which entails boirer, the last one. But let's say if you have 5 dishes which entails boirer, again, so alles is a summa chasida. It takes 2 hours to prepare this dish. But if you have a dish which doesn't take boirer, and the other thing, Mamash the bringer of Deisha, Mamash in the Kide, they say that whatever takes in boirer, you should do the last one because it should be some altar.
Against fuller teller from Ex-Valley, even though the amount of people that there are for the Suda,
yeah, but why are you making a full teller?
Because the first thing yet by the Suda.
No.
So the starting good mention was on Andikin against that.
So why are you making that much? Because you don't know how much he does, or it has to be presentable. That means that's Beseder. This is what I mentioned before. Whenever you do it for this Suda, because you don't know how much they're going to eat, or even if you know it's not going to be, but it has to be presentable. Has to be the guest or the host. Has to be. People should be comfortable to eat. That means you make it for the Seder. Das meint doch heilig für the Seder. Das ist kein Problem. That's not a Issa. Issa is when I'm doing more because I want it should be leftovers, and I know it's going to be leftovers in order to have a next Suda. That's a problem. But if you don't know, or it has to be, you're preparing a meal, it has to be on the table normal, people should be comfortable to eat, that is not a problem. Now, people make a mistake. Sometimes people forgot the halacha, and they made the boirer psoides with the geoichel. Or they made, not psoides, they made it for afternoon. They made a tuna salad for afternoon, shalashidas, tuna salad. That happens nicht. I made it for Alachar Zman. So what do I need to do? So I'm going to eat it now. I'm going to eat it now to the Suda, because then it's La'alter. I made it before the Suda, it's La'alter. I made it for afternoon. And I don't need tuna, but I have gefilte fish with salmon and whatever I have. But now, in order to take away the Iser, I'm going to eat it now. There's no point. Because once you did a boirer of La'achar Zman, Shloile Alter, was du going for Iser der Reise. T'chiva, dus ja. But you're allowed to eat now?
Later.
Do what?
You can eat the food later.
You can eat it, weet niet schuizer, ja. Aber,
It's not like fish.
nein, ze weet niet schuizer. Aber for andere zaad, you don't need to eat it now, and it doesn't help eating it now. Doesn't eating it now. The pilling with a pillar. A pillar asura. It's not gonna, the same to be vice versa. A person, which I said before already, he made it for now. He made it for the egg salad for now. See that? Then he decided we have so much dishes on the table. Who can eat so much? You know what? Let's put away the egg salad for afternoon, for shalashidas. The Mashem Tov didn't say it has to be Shidas Yom. Maybe, yeah. I don't remember. I'm looking. I don't know. But I come up Shabbos, Iyer Mitzibala. We'll do it for this. Because I made it for the Suda now. Since I decided there's so much now, after putting it on the table, I see there's so much dishes. And egg salad is the thing which basically we could use for shalashidas. People eat shalashidas. I cannot put away, the beet salad for shalashidas. Nobody's going to eat it. But egg salad, what people eat, I'm going to put it for afternoon. Because again, why did you do it? You do it la'alter. You didn't do it la'achar zman. So all these things help. Du hast nicht gemacht kein Iser, and not hast gemacht the Iser, it won't help you. Because some people, I made a thing, let me eat it now. You don't need to. It doesn't help, you don't need to. It says, alles fine avoid.
Can you eat it?
What?
Or can you eat it?
Yeah, this is what he asked, yeah. Es wird nicht schuss. Again, as I mentioned before, there are some salads which in order it should get tasty, it has to marinate. It has to be sit in the oil or sit in with the onion together, and then it gets tasty. And when it's fresh, it doesn't get. Sometimes people make coleslaw, coleslaw. coleslaw, if you don't let it stay for a while, yeah, it's not good because it has to stay. No, nicht fresh. It has to be marinated. It has to be the flavor. The flavor has to go in. Flavor go in. So days make ich machen 2 Stunden früher. If it takes 2 hours in order to become marinated, I made it 2 hours before the Suda. Yeah, but it's not nigmar only before the Suda. So such thing is okay. But anything which you don't need to do, and you make it 2 hours before the Suda, then it's a problem.
What happened to the Moshe now? People.
Yeah.
You have to start 3 hours before.
Then you could, because again, ich arbeite auf diese Sache in order to when I'm going to finish by the Suda. So that's not a problem. So, but I want to make it clear. Whenever making it early adds on to the taste, to the shipper hamachel, it's mutter, as I mentioned before. If you have to marinate, but if I have a good reason to make it early, that's not a good. That's not a heter. As I mentioned before, I want to make it before davening because I want to go to daven. I want to go daven, and then when I come home for shul, my husband comes home also. So then I should start making the eggs. It takes time. So I have a tzorich good. I want to go in davening in shul with a minion. That's not a heter. Well, it doesn't give anything. It's not a heilig from shipper hamachel. It is a zatige. You have a very good reason, but a good reason doesn't make it mitter, and that's not a heter. Okay, so that's what we said is the Indian. So again, has to be la'alter, and has to be biyad. What is considered psoilus? What is considered oichel? Yeah, is bepashas wie a kind kick the erste Sache is. Whatever is a shell we cannot eat, that's psoilus. Whatever you eat is oichel. Steigt nicht sicher nur no. Anything which I don't want to eat now, although I could eat it all the time. It's not I hate it. I don't want to eat it now. Taking that out is also because that's called psoilus, and whatever I need is called oichel. I have a soup. It has chicken inside, has squash inside, has a carrot inside. Yeah? And I'm taking out the carrots, although I eat carrots. I eat squash. But I'm taking it out now. I don't want to eat it now. And I want it I want to give Shep. Hast du rausgenommen the carrot from the pot, hast du overgewinnen von Isser, von Beurer, Psoilus mit der Euchel. Because Psoilus mit der Euchel is lav davke, as is a Sach, wo es ist, wo man sehen, gedurem. Bei Eizem, was Mama, ich will es nicht, ja. Aber es ist gedurem, wie Sach, man bald umkommt, es ist ja Puprute.
Let's say if you have the leftover soup, you want to pour the broth into the sink, and the vegetable on top of the garbage.
Oh, this is a zatige lucha, which, but the lucha, you have to know it, that whenever both goes into the garbage, hast du nicht kein Problem für kein Beurer. So in such a case, what you mentioned now, I want the soup into the sink, and all the restovers go in the garbage, so that's why I'm dividing it, it's nicht kein Problem. But beide sind Psoilus mit der Psoilus, habe ich kein Problem. So wie euch mit der Euchel, because we're going to see euch mit der Euchel, is nicht kein Problem für Beurer. The problem is no, a machel which I don't want to eat, that's called Psoilus. But if it's not, for instance, I have a piece of fish, a bigger piece and a small fish, with the same mean, 2 mean, and I want 1 mean, one mean, in one, one type of fish. Yeah, but a bigger slice, a smaller slice is called oich mit oich. 2 types of fish, or 2 types of fish, marinated. It could be all same salmon, but it's 2 flavors, and you want one, you don't want the other one. That's psoilus. So, what? The lop can psoilus because I don't want it. Whatever I don't want it now, that's If I don't want it now, which is 2 minim, again, if it's 2 minim and I don't want that now, that's called psoilus. Ich hatte gesucht. Du dachtest No. The what? לקחת אדום מן זה לא בעיה, אבל אם לקחת, what? No. Aber schon gesagt, weil du sie derich Achille. Das ist der Weg, that's the way.
You have to do it right before?
What?
You have to do it right before the meal?
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to peel vegetables?
Yeah, of course. Peeling. This is what I said before. That peeling is do ein heter, only on one tonight.
Vegetables, mamish food. That's how it's
Afa I don't want it. I want to take off the psoilus. Again, it's a bisschen tzikim about noch a prat, which we're going to see legaba a peeler. Somebody brought up before about peeler. We're going to see one thing about that. It depends. No, it depends what kind of what I want to peel. But that's I want to go like halal lakuvet. So again, then
If you want to eat it later,
If I want to eat it later
it's
and I don't want to eat it now, is this was ich will essen now is euchel, was ich will essen später ist psoilus. Because I don't want to eat it now. I don't want it.
Later, like later, or even like
What do you mean?
within the same meal, like you want to eat it soon.
Nochmal, ich will beide essen, ich muss nur divided. Das meint nicht, ich will das gesessen. But I don't want to eat it now. I have two types of fish. One fish I want to eat now, one fish I want to pay for afternoon seed. Taking out that, which I'm putting away afternoon seed, putting it away in the refrigerator, that's a problem. Because that's called oichel, psoilus b'tach oichel. Because again, psoilus means anything which I don't want to eat now, it is considered psoilus, not necessarily that it's based on psoilus. Oh, there's a clue. Look. The what? Ja, aber das ist nicht kein, ist jetzt reinlegen. Aber der Halbstunde ist zu teilen.
How much mix that is
No.
going to be on the same table, the same
Oh, this is extra, but we'll get to that. All these things, what is it considered boyer tarivas? That's extra lucha. We're going to get to this lucha. Yeah, boyer is a sigya. We're going to get to this, what is considered boyer. A me'irif. Has to be me'irif. If it's not me'irif, we're going to get to it. Aber koim die Soides. Soides is, as jeder sagt, so alt Rebbe so klur, und es ist bei Verstanden, so ein Shechanurach klur, as anything which is, oibas is shnai minam. Let me make it clear. 2 minim. If it's 1 min, although it's a bigger apple and a smaller apple, a bigger piece of fish, small bigger fish, you can take out the smaller piece and put it away. But if it's not the same min, it's different taste, the Alter Rebbe zegt noch mehr. You have 2 apples. A sweet apple, a sour apple, that's already called 2 minim. That's a problem. So that's why I'm telling you, boiler is so complicated, and it's so easy, because a tiny thing what you're gonna switch, you're gonna do, guys, are not a problem. So always you have to, always take the thing which you want to take, which you want to eat, and don't take away. A person doesn't want it. Same. I want to go back to the same which I mentioned before. Sometimes you do a iser, and then you want to be mesaken, and it doesn't help. For instance, a person got a plate of soup, and there's a squash inside, and he doesn't like squash. So what does he take? He takes the squash, takes it out with a spoon. So now, no, he's going to get it for someone who likes it. When you take it out and giving it for him, that's something else. Ich will es geben für jenen. Ich will es geben für jenen. Aber ob ich denke so, weil ich will bewahren sein, and then I want to save it, I'm giving it for him, is the same as I made boiler lachers man, and as I'm eating it now. It won't help.
So if I don't like it, other person likes it. Who wants squash? And, okay,
No, ist so. Ob ich nehme es heraus, weil ich will es herausnehmen nach Psoil, ich will nicht sein im Teller, aber ich will nicht essen. Aber weil they gave me the squash, and I know my son likes squash, and by mistake, it went in my plate, darf ich stoßen the plate, ich kann ihm das geben, weil ich gebe ihm machen. Das ist das Wort. What is the kavuna? The kavuna is, okay, du noch ein paar Brot, aber we'll get me to andere Woche.